Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Cone Dodger here. Welcome back to Formula One 2019 as we get ready for another round of contract negotiations. And I'm eyeing for that guy over there's spot. I want to be the #1 driver on this team. That is my goal here for the day. And you can see our value is much higher than it was previously, thanks to that, I would say, very lucky win in Hungary. Sure, it was a great strategy, and I read the situation pretty darn well, but honestly, there was a lot of luck involved. Things happened to go our way, but I'm going to try and use that to our advantage here and try for, they are already recommending the first driver spot, try for a good contract here. I should really look at what we have previously before I move on here, but I never do. Level 1 there, upgrade speed, I would like at least level 2, pit efficiency at least level 2. Do I have this high enough? I don't want to undershoot. That is a thing that I commonly do, is undershoot the contract, and I end up not fighting for enough. So let's go for upgrade speed 3 there. And if we got that, boy, I don't know that there's much more we could desire in life at the moment.
All right, the terms have been agreed. All that's left is to sign the paperwork.
I'll sign that paperwork all day long. Maybe we could have gotten the pit stop efficiency, but I don't really think that's make or break. If we have that race bonus and we have that upgrade speed, then we are really, really in good shape. And we are now the #1 driver, which will give us a little bit of a bonus as far as, I believe, resource points and whatever this, rookie to veteran status is. It's a good thing moving forward. And we do need to look at the R&D tree. We have a lot of resource points to spend this time around. We do have to spend some of them on this plank thing that failed last time. And then I want to move forward with weight reduction. So that's another 500. So we gotta assume one of those is gonna fail because that's the way the game works. We have 1100 points left. We can do 500 on front downforce. We can do a 2 week for reduction in drag. 2 weeks puts us in Singapore, which sucks. We don't really care too much about what happens in Singapore. I would really rather get as much on the car for here, or as we head to Spa, as possible. And I still feel like I want more front downforce in this car. It does feel like it's hurting a bit there. That leaves us with 611, and hopefully that means we can do, yes, a crankshaft power increase. So that is a lot of upgrades all at once. Hopefully at least half of them go through, and we won't know that until we head to the track for Spa, where I'm sure it's not gonna rain, right? Feeling smug achievement. Alright, goals update. We are on the practice program 1. That's cool. Let's see. Only the engine one failed. Well, that's okay. That's okay, I suppose. Still a pretty good upgrade for the weekend. Hey! No rain in the forecast. Dry conditions in qualifying on the race. Finally. And at Spa, of all places. Of course. Silly video game. Alright, we are now in Belgium for the Belgium Grand Prix at Spa. I really wanted to say Belgian waffles there. I don't know why. It's ingrained in my brain. So Spa is one of those tricky places where you want really good top speed, but there's a lot of turns that are pretty high downforce, and then there's a lot of turns that are very chassis sensitive. So the whole setup is a compromise, basically. Where is brake pressure? That looks pretty good. We might move that to 53. That seems to be my sweet spot. Pretty aggressive setup for soft suspension, soft springs, but stiff anti-roll bars to help us get through some of those really sharp transition turns that we have here. But we really want a lot of roll in the car as well for things like the carousel. I don't know. It's all very much so a compromise. I think the biggest thing is really making sure the car still goes fast in a straight line.
Okay, we'll alter the setup of the car.
I hope you will. Alright, let's try it on the hard tire. I have a feeling we might end up using the hard tire here. I'm not too sure. We shall see. Spa has always been one of my favorite tracks. It is, of course, quite difficult. I have no force feedback. I have no force feedback. Oh no. This is bizarre. Huh. Oh yeah, the power button is off on my steering wheel. Well, I need to tend to that. I guess I'll pause the game. Oh, that should be good. Yep. I had unplugged the steering wheel to hook up the switch. Alright. I can do it now. Yeah, it's certainly difficult heading here to Spa after what has happened recently, but that's part of the thing. You just gotta get back to it. Put what happened in the past. It's not exactly the same for me as it is like a real F1 driver, because my mind is kind of allowed to wander here. Boy, these tires are hard. I might need to move that brake bias a bit too. Yeah, it seems very skatey. But yeah, my brain's allowed to wander here versus I know just from my very, very limited real racing experience that when you're strapped into a car and things are really moving around you, your brain gets much more focused, and it becomes so overwhelmed basically by the environment that you're in that you don't have time to think about things. So you might think it should be so hard for, you know, a racing car driver to get into a car after they've just lost one of their friends to a racing car incident. But honestly, it's just one of those things that your brain simply cannot think about those kinds of things in that environment, which is it's just kind of it's a phenomena, but it's really, I hate to use this word, but a blessing that happens. Well, we had a good string at the end, but then I missed the DRS. We can do better than that, though. Boy, I gotta be real touchy with the throttle here. These tires, this must be a very hard compound tire. Widen it out there. With that DRS, it's a good string of purples. Feels a little, feels maybe a little off the pace down the straightaway there. No, there's our first green. No, it's because of the wheel spin at the back. Still pretty good though. No, we missed that one. Yeah, I don't know why. I can't get the car to rotate down into there. Well, this lap started really good. Luckily this track is very long, so if I can string together some purples again, hopefully we'll be alright. That's good. Ah, green. Too slow on entry. Absolutely must hit the rest of the greens the rest of the way. So there is a lot to talk about in the world of F1. We are coming off of the Italian... What accent was that? Italian Grand Prix weekend in the real F1 world. That was very close to a spin. And certainly a lot of talking points there, including another very, very scary crash in the Formula 3 series this time. Oh, 10 points off. Oh, these tires are not going to allow me the pace to do this a third time, unfortunately. But that's okay. So yeah, much to be talked about there. I'll try to get to that here today in practice. I've decided to forego making any changes, and I'm just going to try it on the medium tire in this race strategy program and see where we stand. So, in Monza, Parabolica this year, they put a curb on the outside of the track to try to enforce some track limits. And most of you probably know how I feel about track limits. I really think it's one of the things that most upsets me about modern F1 rules in general. It's one of those things that I just feel like they've really lost the narrative there. I'm really struggling for rear grip still. Yeah, it feels like they've lost the intention, I suppose. Get the DRS. So I believe the intention... Well, this all started because we realized that paved runoffs around tracks were the safer option, and it would significantly reduce the amount of severe accidents caused by cars either hitting the grass and skating, or getting into the gravel and flipping, or doing other various things. Allowing the cars to run off into asphalt allows the drivers extra time to help get the car under control and stop an accident from even happening. That is where this all comes from in my mind, because as they did that, as they started to pave more of the track around the edges, it unfortunately also presented an opportunity, because if you can extend the apex of a turn out, if you can let the car run wider, the turn is no longer as sharp as it once was, and therefore you can run faster. And a race car driver is in the car to go as fast as possible. So what they did as basically a safety measure became something that drivers were using as a, speed advantage. Now, in my mind, my defense of that has always been, if you designed a track and you did something that made there an opportunity for the drivers to go faster, and you didn't intend for it to do that, then you failed, basically. You failed at the task. As a track designer, as an engineer, you didn't account for the conditions properly. Now here at Spa, they've done things with AstroTurf, and they've done that at other tracks to try and give, drivers, like right here, there's all this runoff out here. It's not an advantage to go out there, it's actually slower, so they don't do anything with it. But over here, this runoff, they made that slippery because it is an advantage to go out over there. The AstroTurf doesn't quite dig in like gravel would, or grass even, and it's pretty predictable. It's just going to be, slippery. But on a lot of these tracks, it's just plain paved runoff, and you can just run out there and go faster. The way I would like to see it ruled is, if the natural line around the track, if the line around the track that is the fastest includes areas you paved, then that is the new track. That is the line around the racetrack that you have made. That's how I see it in my mind. Unfortunately, the FIA or whoever does not see it that way, and they see that as drivers just shouldn't use that, so they are enforcing track limits. And they're trying to, do these different things to keep drivers from going out there. In Monza, they decided to put in a sausage curb, which is a bumped curve. It is a curb, sorry, that prevents cars from going over it altogether. So when you do that, you're upsetting the car. Usually you see those on the insides of like chicanes. Think of the ones at Monza in the chicanes. Very famous sausages there. Silverstone has some as well. Never have I seen them installed on the outside of a very fast turn like that. Because you've installed a bump in the track. You have installed a ramp in a racing car circuit. They did not intend for it to be that way. They did not intend for this car to hit this curb and get skyrocketed into the air as if it was in a video game. That is absolutely not what they were intending to happen. But it was certainly, I mean, I'm just a simpleton here, but I saw it coming. Like, I saw that was a dangerous thing they had done there. And what eventually happened was enough cars were hitting it that they destroyed this curb enough to cause it to break up, and that caused the incident where it got stuck under a car and launched it into the air. So to me, that's where the blurring comes in. No longer were they trying to make a track safer, they were simply trying to make it harder. And they were doing that in a way that, unfortunately, made it more dangerous. So that's where I think there's a disconnect. You know, there's not enough thought going into, are we doing this for safety? I truly believe they've lost the narrative there. Like, they paved the outside of Parabolica years ago, and it made everyone very mad. That was a very controversial thing that they did there. And now they're faced with the repercussions of everything that everyone told them. When in reality, in my opinion, they changed the turn. If the cars are going to run wide there now, I guess that's the new turn. You know, Parabolica has been reshaped. That's the decision they made. They could have left it grass as it was, and it would have not changed at all. But they decided not to do that because they thought the pavement was safer out there. And the cars are not running into the grass anymore. They're not running that wide that they can hit the grass. So if the safe option was to pave the outside of Parabolica and the cars are going to run out there, then that's just how it should be. Stop trying to, you know, just haphazardly correct your mistake to save the, you know, prestige of Parabolica. You know, oh, we must retain the original curvature of the turn. Well, you didn't care about that before. It's too late. You can't care about that now. That's my opinion. Cone's hot take of the week. Pretty good car here for race trim. Happy with it. Feel like I need a little bit more grip in the rear. I might try a little bit of a softer rear suspension. I don't know. Made some subtle changes to the setup here. Now we're in P2, practice 2, trying the qualifying program. They want us 9th today, so they think we have a really quick car. Kimmy did a time that was good enough for 3rd in practice 1. So apparently this car should be really darn good here. Looks like or sounds like I got some drivetrain components that are getting a little warm. I hung that inside there. Back to the throttle. Still down on time right now. Car's got pretty good straightaway speed though, and we did pick up some time. We got some work to do yet. Nice run through here. Stepped out a bit, but it was okay. There's certainly a lot to talk about when it comes to the actual race in Monza. That was a missed And it kind of goes back into the sportsmanship thing and, you know, rulings. Now a little bit of discussion about have the FIA backed off too much? Are they letting the drivers get away with too much? Because at the beginning of the season, drivers and teams were kind of upset with how much they were impeding with the races. It's quick sector 2. Oh, it's really good through there. Now that they're moving the other way, it seems like, you know, it's controversial that way. That's just part of Formula 1. That's how it will always be. Leclerc, now with 2 wins in a row, is also starting to show a little bit of brutism, like a little bit of Kind of reminds me of some drivers of yore. What was that time? Oh man, it was only good enough for 5th, and they wanted a 3rd for optimal. I don't think it has that in it. Certainly not for a 2nd lap. But yeah, it's been interesting to see him kind of develop as a driver.
It's qualifying time at Spa, one of the mightiest tracks on the Formula One calendar. Long straights, up and downhill, Eau Rouge as well. This track isn't for the faint-hearted.
Alrighty, it is qualifying day here in Spa. Looks like it's a foggy day, doesn't it? Might just be a lighting glitch. Well, let's head out for Q1. I'm looking forward to this one. Feel like we got a really good car for here. And, oh, the lights have come on. Yeah, there's a weird lighting glitch in this track, I believe. It seems to only affect things when you're not in the car, though, or not driving, so shouldn't be a problem. I expect we'll have no problems getting out of Q1 here. I looked over the parts and nothing seemed so bad that we wouldn't be able to qualify with them. They're so dramatic about the wear on the items. Much too dramatic. A little bit messy through there, but it's one of those turns that you can take a million different ways and pretty much be fine. Nothing much we can do with the car through here. Pretty good speed, 210 or 209. I would love to know how that compares to like our end of career Haas car, at least. I feel like that car generally let us run a little bit more trimmed out, but there has been some rule changes since then to have the cars set up a little bit differently. Got away from me there. Too much curb. It threw the carousel, and it snapped around on me. Trying to maintain out of the way there. There's one very hard thing to do. And that was one thing that was a big controversy in Monza, was Vettel and then likewise Stroll exiting onto the track in front of other cars after spins. It's a tough subject. Not only is visibility very difficult with these cars, but I feel like they also don't have very good spotting. I feel like that's something they really need to improve upon. The team's communication as far as where there's cars around them on track is quite poor. I need to just get this thing on pit road and put new tires on it, unfortunately. Might try mediums, but I don't see anybody else on mediums, so I don't think they'll work. Here we go. Try for that perfect lap. Really nice turn one. Into a Rouge. DRS as soon as possible. Top speed should be the same. But down into here, that's where the grip goes away on these mediums. Pretty big mistake there. Might have gotten away with it though. Not a lot of time to mess around at this track. So we gotta get in, put softs on, and go. This time doesn't look like it's gonna be good enough. This is where the car has been really good, other than when I spun it. That just comes with the territory of doing so little practice. Not properly feeling out the extremes of the car. Would love to get a tow here, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Just barely, if any. Neutral on accident. Not a big deal. How off are we? It's P5. Botas also did a lap on mediums. We're ahead of Kimmy, who was on soft. So I feel pretty darn good about that, really.
We have 2 laps of fuel remaining.
Much to my surprise there, I actually had the quickest Sector 1. I thought Sector 1 was my worst sector. And pretty slow in Sector 3, which I thought was pretty good. Looks like we were plenty quick enough, though, to get through 4th and 7th. And we didn't have to waste another set of softs, which is good. Now we can move into Q2, having 2 sets available if needed. Hopefully, though, we only need 1. That would be great. That would be great. Okay, let's immediately get to track, just in case there's any other shenanigans going on. I don't feel like mediums in this session would work. I don't think we actually get 2 sets of those anyway. So we've made our medium play. We have a set of scuffed softs to use as well, but those would only help in Q3. We would definitely not want to do more laps on them here and have to start on those tires. Double heat cycled tires would be awful. Speaking of tires, we got a pretty good look of the 17-inch tires coming to Formula One. I think they look pretty good. It's one of those things that a lot of people have issues with, but personally, I don't know. It's just a different era of Formula One. The formula's got to change, you know. That's part of Formula One. The formula doesn't change. It's Spec Series 1. So people really upset about it. Don't worry, you'll get used to it, and you'll just realize it's a different era. And keep in mind that we once had an era where cars had 6 wheels, so weirder things have happened. Pretty good lines through the air. And there, probably a much better Sector 2 than we had in Q1. Again, we're just behind a Toro Rosso here. Heard some grumblings of maybe we should be looking at Red Bull to move to after our season here. Not sure how I feel about that just yet. This is a team I've not driven for, at least not in any career or anytime recent. P1 for now, but we're very early on track. We'll see how that holds. I would say that held quite nicely indeed. P1 in Q2, P6 for Kimmy. I feel like there's going to be some pretty big increases in speed from the front runners in Q3, but we never know. Could be it could be a pole position possible weekend. And guess what? Guess what, everybody? It has started to rain, but it has just started to rain. Very light rain for 5 minutes is the call. This is a 12-minute session. I think what we have to do is wait until the very end, try and go out on slicks, and just hope that it works. I'll be hawking this menu right here. Currently, they're saying 7 seconds on dry, so it must be pretty wet out there. Wait in a few minutes. It's actually worse right now. The track is getting wetter. All right, might be inner qualifying. 5 minutes remaining and still raining, but the track is getting faster by the second. I would probably say we will go out with about 3 minutes to go. I would doubt the track is gonna flip. I would doubt it, but it is losing tenths per second here. Oh man, that's a tough call. That's a tough call. Look at that, we're already down to 4. You know what? Screw it. Let's try it. We're gonna go out on softs. And, yep, I think we're just gonna have to hope that it's, enough. Yeah, I think we're good. Alright. So, hopefully this gives us enough time for, like, 2 laps. I'm not sure that it will. I need to get out on track immediately, though. Alright, track looks pretty dry to me, but I've not driven on it at all, so I have no idea what I'm about to experience. How much time is left? 1:33. I am going to go very, very slowly. I'm going to pull a real F1 thing. This is another big controversial topic in Formula 1 right now, is how slow drivers are going. And in qualifying in order to time their laps. I wish I had waited another 30 seconds. There's nobody behind me as of right now, so I can wait for a good long time. I just know that the way that this game works is the track dries per second. So the track is drying as we're just out here cruising around. So the longer I wait, the better off we're gonna be. There's no cars behind me. There's a little bit of rain, or a little bit of water on track at least down here yet. And here we go. I think we're probably on track too soon, but we'll see. Felt really good there, spun him a bit in 4th, but nothing too crazy. I did chicken out a little bit up the hill. You know, that affects our straight line speed, not too much. And the brakes a little bit earlier down here as well. It was necessary to, I feel. Keeping the car out of torque. A lot of cars out right at the last second. And we'll have a little bit better of a track. Those cars are not going to get another lap, so we are technically on a drier track than they are. That's qualifying complete for them. .48.1. Yeah, we might actually be one of the last cars across the line. No!
That looked bad. Are you alright? Let me know you're alright.
It was just a little slippery there, and that wall juts out just right. Oh no. That was gonna be a pole lap. I guarantee it. Oh, that is too bad. Oh. Yeah, it just lost the front end out of there like it hasn't all weekend. And into the wall it went. That is too bad. And I stayed in it because I knew it was going to be close, and if I lifted there, it's going to be real rough. Well, that's qualifying for us. P10 it's going to be. P10 it's going to be.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top 3. Hamilton, Vettel and Charles Leclerc. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
Interesting time there from Lucas. P9 in a Williams. That's believable. It's not. All right. Well, it's actually a pretty good qualifying result, but it's a shame because I have a feeling we were in really good shape to potentially be on the pole today. But I was pushing to the very edge, the very brink of grip. And that's what you gotta do. That is what you gotta do. I'm not disappointed. Not in the least.
Well done. That was a good qualifying performance.
I agree. A little bit rough on the car, but it was good. Thanks as always for watching. I will see you tomorrow for the race.